our 10th, and so maturity is hitting the house. James chapter 4, beginning at verse 13, I'll read this out of the New King James Version of the Bible. To all of our dream teams, we salute you. We could not do it without you. Thank you for all that you do. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, and make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. We are starting a one-day series entitled This Time. And today I want to use for a subtopic, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Tell two people, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. Let me start right away. We got to run. We got another one tonight. 3 things I don't have time for in 2024. I don't have time to question my own potential. I am too old to keep blaming my mess on other people. I got to take responsibility for where I am, and I don't have time to question my own potential. Number 2, I don't have time to question my calling and or purpose. I know what I heard. I know what he said. Where I go, he gives affirmations. I'm going with God, whether you agree or not. Number 3, I don't have time to be my own stumbling block. Now, here's one of the things I want you to notice about this list. Nowhere in this list did it involve you. It was all about me. Why? Because this is what Mark chapter 5, beginning at verse 2 says. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Verse 5, night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself. Why is this important? Because when I look back over 2023, my year would have been more productive had I stopped cutting myself. I can't be held responsible for what you do, how you treat me, or whatever may be going on. But had I just stopped cutting myself. So today I want us to talk about some of our self-inflicted wounds. Some of us are dying at the hands of others, but others of us are dying because we keep cutting ourselves. And in a moment of transparency, my biggest 2023 enemy was procrastination. Someone say procrastination. So ladies and gentlemen, through the course of the year in my studies during my thesis writing season just over a month ago, my wife almost got put out the house. I was sending her back to her daddy. It was bad. I'm doing my thesis writing and I'm locked in. You understand? I mean, I didn't leave the house for about 10 days. It was right in front of the computer. That's why I needed glasses. I was zoned in. You understand? For about 10, 12 days, I come to church on Sunday, go right back home, jump right in front of my computer. And I did that for almost a week and a half nonstop. But one day, my wife looked at me and she said, I'm seeing some procrastination on you. And I almost cussed. Because to say that I'm procrastinating is demeaning my work ethic. And one thing you can't tell a reasonable black man, you can't tell him, is that he don't work hard. I might not have a lot of money, but don't tell me I ain't working hard. You understand? And so she referenced that in the same sentence with procrastination, and it bothered me. But I also know the voice of my wife. I know her intentions are good for me. And I said, is there some truth in this? And I had to self-check. I had to evaluate. And what I discovered is there was procrastination in me, but it wasn't the common perceptions of procrastination. Procrastination goes deeper than we know. Procrastination is to be slow or late about doing something that should be done. To delay until a later time because you do not want to do it. Some cases you're tired, some cases you're frustrated. In other cases, as is common to us, you are lazy. And when she said you're procrastinating, I heard her say you're lazy. Put them up, square up. You're not doing this to me, all right? But here's what I discovered. Christopher Parker says procrastination is like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. Napoleon Hill said procrastination is the bad habit of putting off until the day after tomorrow what should have been done the day before yesterday. Bishop Rosie O'Neill in Greenville, South Carolina, she says procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God owes you another chance to do tomorrow what he gave you a chance to do today. Why is this important? Because destiny is not produced accidentally. What you desire to accomplish is not going to randomly trip up and show up. If destiny reveals itself to you, it was because you were intentional in the search and the discovery of it. Here's the reality. Procrastination in some cases is a stress disorder. You need to know that. It is a self-punishing, self-blaming stress. This is what I do to me. Nobody sees what's going on in me, and in order for me to penalize me, I'm going to procrastinate. I'm going to build up the negative energy because this is how I whip and beat myself. There is also a thing called the procrastinatory cognition. It is the ongoing thought process of condemning and stressing ourselves by delaying the inevitable and pushing it off. But the reality is, not only is procrastination a stress disorder, for some, and even I discovered for me, procrastination was a stress relief. I wasn't putting things off because I was lazy. I was putting things off because I needed peace. Every day that I wake up is stress and this on this and this on this. And in this moment, I'm going to get it done. But today, I just need peace. I just need a pause. It might be late. I might lose some points. But if I don't stop today, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'm going to be here on Sunday and I'm going to let a cuss come out. All right, here's the reality. Let me put the cookies on the bottom shelf so everybody can eat. Some of you cuss because it's in your heart. And I'm not sending you to hell. I just don't know when you get to heaven if you're going to get a mansion. You might get the pool house. I don't know. I don't want to take that chance. You understand what I'm saying? Some use profane language because it's in your heart. Some use it because I've had enough. I've had enough. I just need a minute. And just because you use it when you've had enough doesn't mean you're right. It just means you're undisciplined. So you should have known before you left the house, I can't take no more. Why you ain't coming over? Because I can't take no more. One more thing and I'm going over the edge. I can't take no more. So why is this important? Because in today's text, James is rebuking the church and challenging their presumption and arrogant assumption of time. They were living as if time was limitless for them. This attitude suggests that I know, Lord, what you want me to do, but I prefer not to do it. I'm hearing what you want me to do, but I prefer not to do it because I actually know better than you. James again says, come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell and make profit. He says, y'all already making your 2024 goals and you doing all this, but you never set any of that down and said, Lord, if you give me the strength, if you wake me up, if you give me the power, if you keep me in my right mind, where is the God factor in all of your goals? He says, whereas you do not know what will happen for tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. This is the one that put me underneath the couch. Therefore, verse 17, are you with me? Look with me. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it. To him who knows this is today's assignment. But I'm going to push it off because I'm already betting God's going to give me tomorrow because he loves me like that. If I'm going to walk in that level of arrogance, he says to him, this is sin. Why is that important? Because procrastination, being a procrastinator is not who you are. It's a character trait. But not only is it a character trait in the eyes of God, it is out of order. God Almighty. As Christians who are procrastinators, God says you're out of order. Here's the problem. You're saying, open up the windows of heaven and pour out blessings that I won't have room enough to receive. But if you go to a vending machine that has 60-cent soft drinks, but it has a sign that says out of order, you're not even going to waste 60 cents on that machine. But you're asking God, despite me being out of order, still open up the windows. I might send back a return, I might not. I don't know. I know I'm out of order, but put money in me anyway. This is what we're communicating. Procrastination, ladies and gentlemen, is to be at war with God. It means to be at war with God, to be in opposition to his plans and purposes for our lives. Procrastination is to be, here we go, outside of the will of God. Let me share a couple lessons learned from biblical characters who warred with the plan of God. Lot moved into Sodom. And that move brought trouble to him and to his family because he got outside of the will of God. David committed adultery and brought trouble to his family and to his kingdom because he got outside of the plan and the will of God. Jonah disobeyed God and almost sent a shipload of sailors to their grave because he got outside of the will of God. So here's my question. Who in your life is suffering because you are outside of his will? How many innocent bystanders are taking shots because you're outside of the will? So here's a question we got to ask. Why would we fear the will of God? Why fear the will of God? Where else can you go and find safety other than in his will? You know what the problem is? You remember when you were younger and people told you, yep, you got your daddy head. Yep, you know your daddy's a prophet. The mantle of the prophet is in your head. It's in your daddy's head. And then you see how your daddy functioned in the prophetic. And you say, I don't want that. I don't want to do that. So instead of adjusting how you handle the gift, you run from it. Wow. Some of you have the gift of the prophetic on your life, but because of the way you saw it handled, you said, I don't want it. You can carry the gift in your own unique way. My daddy walked in here right now, he would kill me. He got on jeans and a sweatshirt, preaching in the house of God. Bro, look, I ain't got time to be putting on no 7-piece suit every Sunday morning. And that mess is too expensive. And it's hot. And the dry cleaning bill. It's just uncomfortable. I don't want to do that. So instead of throwing away the gift, I just chose to handle it in a way that would be unique for me, here we go, and those that God has assigned to my life. So if the Lord opens a door for me to go minister at another place, I don't just walk in like this. I say, what's the order of your house? Because that is being honorable. But for those who here call me to, y'all crazy. Look at y'all, look at y'all, look at you. You club ready right now. Who goes to church with leather pants on? Only in the City Church. And don't look down your road. Don't nobody look. I'm sorry. Don't nobody look down your road. You club ready and you know it. In case you get that text right now, where it at? Send me to Addie though. Only at the City Church. The safest place in the world is being with God and in the will of God. For the true danger is being outside of his plan for your and my life. Luke 12, beginning at verse 54, it says, he said to the crowd, when you see, y'all need to write this stuff down. We're going to have church later. You're going to want all this smoke. I'm setting you up for a year filled of full capacity. He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say, it's going to rain. And it does. And when the south wind blows, you say, it's going to be hot. And it is. I mean, I can do this. I can be outside. I can say, we need to go. I smell rain. You can feel the wind. Oh, the wind is shifting. We need to go. The storm is coming. And this is what he's saying. It is going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? If you can interpret the future so well, why can't you tell that your time is running out? Why do you keep living like tomorrow is promised? Tomorrow is not. So maximize your days. He says in James chapter 4 again, verse 13, come now, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, make a profit. He's communicating the complexities of life. Life can be difficult. Just going to work can be stressful. Making money, paying bills, it can be stressful. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. He's communicating the uncertainty of life. Someone say uncertainty. This is what the Bible communicates in Luke chapter 12. If you see there, even in this parable, you have this farmer who's collecting all his things and he's running into a level of increase. He says, man, I got to build bigger barns and I'm going to store up all my barns with everything I have so I can have for my future. And then the word comes and says, you fool. You were storing all of this for a future that you're not even going to see. Matter of fact, today is the day that heaven is calling you. Your time on earth is done. Can I ask you this question? How would your life change if you knew tomorrow was your last day? How many apologies would you give quickly? But now you just can't do it because of the assumption I'm going to have time. You live differently. Watch this. He speaks in verse 15, instead you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. He's communicating the brevity of life. Life is short. It is uncertain to man, but it is known to God. Hence, your only confidence in tomorrow comes with being in his will. I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I know I'm safe because I'm in his will. Whatever happens, it's God ordained. Verse 17, therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. So let's talk about our days for a moment. Y'all okay? Job chapter 14, verses 1 and 2. Mortals born of a woman are a few days and full of trouble. They spring up like flowers and wither away. Like fleeting shadows, they do not endure. Psalm 90 and 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Teach us to number our days that we might gain a heart of wisdom. All right? I want everybody, if you got a phone, I want you to do something with me. Take out your phone right now. This is on the spot. All right? I'm proving a point in a second. Everybody got your phone? All right? I want you to go to your calculator. If you got an iPhone, I want you to go to your calculator. If you got an Android, just go to MSN. Google or somewhere. Just Google calculator. I don't know. All right, here we go. This is what we're going to do, all right? Teach us to number our days. Hypothetically speaking, and I'm speaking blessing over your life. Hypothetically speaking, for the point of this exercise, I am, in February, I'm turning 43, right? I had to check with my wife. She keeps up with my age. Typical man, right? And in February, I'm turning 43, okay? So hypothetically speaking, let's say God is granting all of us, hypothetically speaking, God is granting all of us 80 years of age, okay? I want you to take 80 and subtract your age. That tells you how many more years you have. Everybody with me? Everybody with me? Everybody with me? All right? Just tell somebody around you how many more years you have, roughly. This is just an exercise, y'all. Don't get scared. Are you with me? Everybody with me? I want you to take that number, whatever your number is, and now I want you to multiply it by 365. All right? Here's the problem. According to this exercise, I have 37 years left. But if I transition it to days, I have approximately 13,500 days left. It hits differently when I see it in days versus years. Maybe this is why the Bible says to number your days, not your years. Because when you see life through your day, when you see it through, watch this, every birthday, oh girl, I hit my 50, it's going down. 50 is the new 13. Like, y'all women got to stop that mess. Like, 60 is the new 18. It ain't. It's still 60. You understand? So every year, we take this moment to celebrate a new year, and we change nothing. Change nothing. Because I still got 40 more years. I got time. But when I look at, I only have 13,505 more days left, I better get on it. And I'm telling you, you do not have another year to waste. This time, you got to do better. This time, you got to be more intentional. This time, you got to be more strategic. And this time, I'm taking calls to pause, and I'm taking a road less travel. This time, you got to set some boundaries. Stop letting people speak to you any way they want, treat you any way they want, say whatever they want to you. They can leave you whenever they get ready because they know you always going to let them come back. Ninja, please, this is the last day you're going to be handling me like this. My life is valuable, and I don't have time. Here we go. Couple things you cannot afford to do in this life. You can't waste time. I don't have time to waste. You can't even spend time because it has no return. All of your time must be invested. You waste it, brings nothing back. You spend it, brings nothing back. If my time being invested in your life doesn't bring a return, then you're not a part of my destiny. Can we go out to dinner tonight? I'm sorry, I only have 13,505 more days. Is this dinner gonna bring back an investment into my life? Nah. If all we gonna do is just talk about what they doing, ain't it crazy how people talk about what they doing? First of all, you ain't doing nothing, but they're at least trying. How do you put your mouth on people who are trying? They might not be winning, but they're trying while you're doing nothing. Watch this. So life is too brief. Ecclesiastes says, chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot. And you carry that all out. Many of us are very familiar with that. He says there's a time for everything and there is a season. Watch this. Here's one of the things we gotta take away from this. When he says there's a season, seasons come and go. They're cyclic. All right? So that this might be all right. So this is the relationship I'm having with God. God is telling me I'm getting ready to increase your capacity, but you're too full. What can you let go of so I can give you more of me? I'm trying to increase your capacity, but you got to let go of something. What can you let go of? And as he's speaking to me, I say the same thing to you. God is trying to increase your capacity, but you're already on full. What can you let go of to say, Lord, I got more room? What can you let go of? What relationships can you let go of? If you got 7 best friends, none of them are best friends. Just telling you that. You have an emotional deficit. A relational deficit. What can you afford to let go of? I got to let go of some relationships. Every relationships require communication. I ain't got time to be going back with you with text. Hit me in 2025. 2024, I'm on my grind. I got some things to do. And I just don't. It's not that I don't have time for you. It's just this time, this year, this season. Right? You can come back later if you still choose to come back. But I got to choose me in my future. Watch this. He says, let me give you a couple reasons why we procrastinate. Are you still there? Number 1, boredom. When an activity is perceived as boring or unpleasant, you're more likely to put it off. Some things that bore you, that you're putting off, is it possible you're not supposed to be doing it anyway? You won't have to procrastinate so much if you learn the art of saying no. Can you do that? I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm going to be honest. I could. I really could. But so could they, so could they, so could they, so could they. There's some areas in your life that only I can add value to. So why ask me to do what they could do? I can, but I won't. That's not the best use of my time. I only have 13,505 more days. Number 2, reasons we procrastinate. Number 2, lack of confidence and or fear. Tasks are difficult to complete when one feels they lack the capacity to do so. Number 3, stress and anxiety. I know I got to get this done, but a lot been going on. I just need a moment of peace. I'm putting everything off. I just need a moment of peace. Number 4, perfectionism. That used to be me. If everything's got to be done right. It's got to be done perfect. If it can't be done perfect, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a part of it. Here's a news flash. You're not perfect. I know your mama told you you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you can do whatever you want to do. Your mother's a liar. She's a liar. Whatever the next number is, before y'all put me out. Another reason we procrastinate, distraction. You're distracted. You know you got to write that paper, but your notifications keep going off on Instagram and on Facebook and on Snapchat and on all these other things that we do. They're taking up part of your capacity. Here's the last one, presumption. It is the prideful belief that opportunities will represent themselves. The old adage says the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of the opportunity. So here's one thing that you have to choose. If you must, choose to live in the peace of failure as opposed to the rigor of regret. I could sleep at night knowing I failed because I at least tried. But regret keeps me up all night long. And I want you in this season to find peace in failure as opposed to the rigor of regret. Because even when I fail, I learn for next time. Some of you never would have passed that test if you didn't fail it the first time. Now I failed it. I know all the answers. Clearly it wasn't C. Somebody say thank God for failure. Watch this. Proverbs 13:22. Why is this important? You can't afford to procrastinate another year of your life. Why? Because I don't know how much time I have left. In Proverbs 13:22, talking about regret, says a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. I want you to consider that heaven calls you. I can't put you in heaven, but for the sake of this exercise, I'm just going to say heaven called you. But we know that don't apply to everybody. Whole nother conversation though. Heaven calls you, and they have like this, maybe like a baby room with a window where you can go to the window, look down into earth, and you can see how your family and folks are still living. Somebody's like, I've been praying about that because if my husband try to move on without me, Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Watch this though. But imagine looking down from heaven and seeing the tears that come from your seed because you left them with nothing. I don't even have enough energy to cry because I lost mama because of all the bills mama left us. So there is an inheritance we ought to leave. An inheritance is not always financial. Sometimes it can be knowledge. It can be peace. It can be things that I can teach you. It can be things about life. And I got to deposit and invest all of this into the earth before I'm done. So this is what the Bible says. Luke chapter 12, verse 54 through 57. Then I'm going to leave you alone. You ready to go? All right. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. The Bible says in Luke 12, beginning at verse 54, he said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say it's going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say it's going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? Why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? My marriage needs my investment in the new year. So how are you going to strategically increase the value of your relationship? I went somewhere last night, and we were having the retirement celebration for Pastor Joseph Jackson. And my wife and I were there, and she used to babysit, for them back in the day, things along that line. Long story short, one of the sons had a crush on my wife when they were younger. And so when we got there, he says, Pastor, I'm just telling you, my boys have already been talking about your wife, and I told them, back down, stand down, stand down. And I said, sir, it's too late now. Where's she going to go? Who can love her like T? Nobody. Who can give her what she needs? Nobody. This is why we need this fast, because y'all are not right. Watch this. My marriage needs my investment. So before I'm spending time with the boys, and I know things aren't right between me and my wife, I got to strategically organize a consistent pattern of investment into my relationship. My sons need their father. And we're not just talking about teaching them to hunt, teaching them to fish, teaching them as young men how to manage their emotions. That people are going to hurt you. When relationships are worth it, sometimes you will cry. And you are going to get mad. But just because you get mad doesn't mean you can throw things. And just because you get mad doesn't mean you can raise your hand at a woman. And just because you get mad doesn't mean you can talk to your mother any type of way. I will break your neck. You understand? So my boys need their father. Watch this. But before I invest in my relationship and I invest in my boys, in the new year, I need me. I can't keep showing up for other people and being absent for myself. I'm pushing you towards your goals and I'm not getting any closer to mine. So before I put any of y'all on my calendar, I got to put me on my calendar. When you going to show up for Pastor T? So at this time, this is what Pastor T does. This time. Well, I need you to come do this, Pastor. Okay, you're going to see me after this because this is Pastor T's time. If it's not an emergency, this is Pastor T's time. I can't believe that. You supposed to be a pastor? Oh, really? So all the times I've showed up for you, and the one time I say not now, I'm a demon. With all the demons I helped deliver from you, and I still call you a child of God? This is what we're doing in this season? Boundaries. You got to show up for yourself. You got to show up for your money. How's your money going to be better? I'm going to go get a new job. You might not need a new job. You need a strategy. Because a new job is going to take time from your failing marriage and your kids who need their father. You might not need a new job. You just need a new strategy. Everybody with me? All right, can I give you one more? All right. In 2024, you got to stop comparing. I'm going to be like them. You don't have the tools they have. They produce what they produce because of the tools that they have been given. You don't have those tools, so you can't produce that. So stop. You're setting yourself up for a long line of disappointment. Stop comparing yourself. You would find more peace in your life if you stop sticking your nose in other people's. We don't ever get to do what they do. They spend a lot of money to go over there and they ain't even speaking to each other. They spent $3,000 on flights to go across the world and didn't sleep together one night. The devil is busy. I'd go to the Renaissance and rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. You understand? Stop comparing, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, give me some elevated music. We got to go. Let's get more spiritual. I hear the Lord saying in this hour, He says, with all the things you can't afford to drop in the new season, I say the best for last, you can't afford to drop your relationship with God. Because if it weren't for Him, I wouldn't be the husband that I am. If it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be the father that I am. If it wasn't for His keeping, I wouldn't be the pastor. If it wasn't for Him keeping my heart and my mind in peace when peace wasn't even anywhere around me, if it wasn't for Him, I can lose some relationships. I can lose a job. I can lose some money, but I cannot lose my connection. Watch this. So this is what He says. He says in Luke chapter 12, beginning at verse 58, as you are going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled on your way, or your adversary may drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. He says, you and your enemy have an ought with one another. They're saying you owe them money. To be honest, you owe them money. You wouldn't pay them, they're taking you to court. Y'all are walking to court together. You would be a fool to get into the courthouse and let a judge make a decision when you know you owe it, you know you're guilty, and you're going to put judgment in the hands of somebody else. He says, while you're walking to the courthouse, say, is there anything I can do? We ain't even got to go up in there. Let's figure this out before we get to the place of judgment. All right. Let me run it back again. This is what he's saying. He's saying, you and God are walking into court. Every day, he and you are walking towards court. And when you get there, you will be held responsible for your judgment. Everything you've done, everything you haven't done, you have to pay a price for all of your sins. He says, instead of waiting till you get there and putting judgment in the hands of somebody else along the journey, say, can we work this out? What can I do to make peace between me and you? So every day you wake up on your journey to court is another opportunity to strike a deal. Don't let life end. You so arrogant. You think you're going to get before the judgment seat and be like, I'm here. It's me. I'm him. They're going to be like, we don't know him. Him downstairs. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Oh my God. He's gonna say, yeah, I don't know him. He said, don't wait till that moment. Work it out now. So every day I get up, Lord, if there's anything in between me and you, I'm asking you to cleanse me. Cleanse my heart, cleanse my mind. I don't want to risk judgment in the hands of a righteous judge, meaning he don't miss. He know the truth. I don't want to do that. Is there anything that we can do? Yeah, sure there is. You need to know my son. Matter of fact, here's his card. He's a bail bondsman. You're already in trouble. He can get you out. Just call him. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call. He'll get you out right now. You just got to make the call. I pray that bless your life. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This season and this time has to return a harvest. There has to be a return on your investment. I can't afford to waste another year. I can't do it. You can't do it. So how do we reconcile this? You got to number your days. You only have 13,500 and 5 more left. So how do you manage? So when you go on social media and you get ready to post, you got to ask yourself, is this going to bring back a return at all? So I'm not even going to post this. Matter of fact, for many of us, you got to get all that off your phone anyway. Just get it off. You got too many books to read to be strolling on social media. So this is what I want you to do. This is part 1. I pray it bless your life. Part 2 is going to be a little bit different. Part 2 is coming this evening at 7:30. This is what I want you to do if you can. As you go home today, you got 7 hours and 25 minutes. As you go home today, I really, seriously, sincerely, I want you to strategically list some areas that I can't afford to miss on in this new year. And I'm not just listing these areas, because after you list them, you have to intentionally come up with a plan for how I'm going to see a return on my investment in these areas. I'm only responsible for these areas. Everybody with me? That's your homework until I see you next time. Stand to your feet.